Welcome to another edition of How I Would Book It, WCW 1998. This is Nitro, the last week of April, and the last week, the go-home show prior to Spring Stampede, live on pay-per-view this Sunday night. Well, in the game. Not in real life. This Sunday is nothing but Sunday. As you can tell, we kick off the show tonight with Nitro tonight with Tony, Mike, and Bobby, the announcers, talking about the main event for Spring Stampede, Sting versus Randy Savage, with Sting defending his WCW World Heavyweight Championship in the main event. And they talk about where Randy has come from and what Randy has had to do to get here tonight. Randy comes out not even before they even finish. Randy comes out to the ring with Elizabeth in tow, and he calls out Stinger as Randy is making claims that Sting has had it easy the last couple months. Sting hasn't faced as much competition as he should as world champion. And the fact of the matter is that Randy Savage has deserved a world title shot. That Randy says, I've deserved a world title shot since you won the title, since even before you won the title, since Hogan was the champion. But now, Sting, I get my shot, and you aren't gonna walk away world champion. I am gonna walk out of Spring Stampede with that title, and there is nothing you could do about it. Sting just shakes his head no, and raises the belt up right above his head, and then points the bat towards Randy. And Randy wants to get in. Randy wants to not wait till Spring Stampede, and Sting is ready and willing. But Doug Dillinger and his security team run to the ring and get in between Sting and Randy to keep them separated until Spring Stampede. No, it is a heated confrontation, but those guys don't come to blows because of Doug Dillinger and his security team coming down and making sure that nothing happens. And now we move to the opening match tonight with Raven against Rey Mysterio Jr., which I will have to say, Raven disappointed again. I guess you could say that it has something to do with Raven. Well, apparently Raven is in desperate need of a character change, which I don't know if that's going to help him much. I don't know if it's going to help him much improve with his storylines because of outside circumstances and things out of my control. So, I'm just going to let Raven be Raven. Will I change his gimmick sooner or later? Yes, I will. But now, no. Because I'm in the middle of doing the show. Now, let me put it this way. I normally would not let Raven, a person like Raven, do his own segment. Why? Plain and simple, mid-carder, upper mid-carder, never really unproven, etc., etc. But now, because it's the go-home show to the pay-per-view, and I want to get the most emotion out of the competitors to get the book, to get the hype going for their match on Sunday at the pay-per-view, I'm gonna let Raven do it because nobody can put forth emotion when it comes to a particular gimmick or character than Raven, because Raven in general was one of the best talkers never to get noticed. I'm just going to keep it that way. Now we move backstage with Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff. And let me just explain something here. Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff are talking about Bret Hart. There just wasn't a segment. There just wasn't a segment that had to do with that, so I had to pick that. Fair? Hogan is saying how people are delusional, that Bret Hart meant anything to WCW. Eric's right. You know, Bret Hart came in expecting everything and expecting everything, and was willing to prove nothing and expecting everything. And that's not how it goes. But Bret Hart came in thinking his name and what he did up there meant something, but it means nothing. Me, this is Hogan talking, me, I'm Hulk Hogan, and my name defines wrestling. You're right, Hulk, you're right. Now we go back to the booth with Tony, Mike, and Bobby, and they talk about how dominant Goldberg has been in the time that he's been in WCW, and the fact that nobody has been as dominant as Goldberg has in the history of WCW, crushing anyone and everyone that is put in front of him. And tonight, let's find out his next victim. His next victim is Van Hammer. Unfortunately, Goldberg and Hammer don't click, and that sorely affected the match and put forth Goldberg's worst match in his career. Now we move to by far one of my favorite feuds because of how I set it up, and that is Ric Flair versus his past. Greg Valentine's from his past, Roddy Piper's from his past, and Sid Vicious is from his past. Sid Vicious was a part of the Horsemen, Greg Valentine was Ric Flair's former tag team partner, and Roddy Piper was Flair's... I'm almost 100% sure Flair and him feuded, not just in WWE, but in WCW. I could be wrong, but I think they did. So, in reality, how this segment will play out, basically, is Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine coming out and explaining how this plan to get at Flair and get him away from WCW and eliminate him in general was laid out over the course of many months, and how for Flair to think that Piper was on his side, Piper would have had to gotten attacked, and how after Flair thought that Piper mistaked Piper's anger, vengeance. Just when Flair trusted Piper the most, that's when Piper struck. Basically, this segment is just Greg and Roddy with Sid, but Greg and Roddy are doing the talking. Greg and Roddy explaining the plan and how they are happy when good plans work out well. Now, it doesn't take long for Arn Anderson to make his way out to the ring, and this, my friends, is where I'm going to talk, because I would lay out the segment with Piper and Greg and talk about what they want to say and figure out what they want to say. They would control what they say, because all I would say is talk about how happy you are that the plan worked, how happy that you finally got your revenge on Flair, he's out of the picture, blah 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 blah. Then Double A comes out, and I say, and Double A says something like this: Piper, you are the only person in that ring that I have respect for. or should I say, had respect for. Because Roddy, you don't realize it, do you? Our time in the spotlight is coming to a quick halt. I stepped out of the spotlight because I was forced to because of my neck. You have kept yourself thrust in that spotlight, as has Rick. You and Rick can still go. There's no doubting that. But fact is, Roddy, you have to realize that your time is almost up. And you associating with them just proves that you can't let go. Because Sid, your problem with Rick goes back almost 10 years. And Greg, your problem with Rick goes back almost 25 years. But Roddy, you've always been Rick's friend, and I've always respected you. But now because you have revealed yourself to be the mastermind behind this plan to get rid of Ric Flair, I have to say that you're no better than Hulk Hogan. That you are no better than Hulk Hogan, because just like Hogan, you don't want to let go. Just like Hogan, you can't accept the fact that you're not as good as you once were. And just like Hulk Hogan, your ego only leaves room in this ring for two of us. For two of you. That's why I'm standing out here and you two are in the ring. Roddy, I don't care how mad you are. I don't care I don't care what you think of what I just said. But Roddy, one thing you need to know, and one thing that you can't help but admit, is that Ric Flair isn't gone. You did not take out Flair because you know it will take out a lot more than just you and two has-beens to take out the Nature Boy. And you know when he comes back, he's gonna have your ass in that ring, and there ain't nothing you could do about it, Roddy. Because I realized a long time ago that the reason why you don't like Rick is because you knew he was better than you in that ring, on that microphone, every single solitary thing. He was better than you. You know what, Arn? You know what? You need to shut your mouth, because if you don't, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. Not like you already haven't. Arn, my issue isn't with you, and I think it's about time you stop kissing Ric Flair's ass and stand up on your own 2 feet and be a man. Because for 15 years, your head has been so far up Ric Flair's ass, you would fight his battles for him. And I'm not talking with the fist, I'm talking with your mouth, because you knew that you could back up every word that you said. But you also knew you could back up every word Flair said if Flair couldn't. So how about you get in this ring, you shake our hands, and you join the good side, the winning side, and the side that ended the cancer that is the Nature Boy. This is when Arn walks towards the ring. Roddy, I may have retired, but that doesn't mean I am any less of a man. I will always go to bat for my best friend, and Ric Flair has been my best friend since the first time I met him back in 1984. We traveled the road up and down for years. For 5 years. We traveled all over this world and sold out buildings everywhere. When you were up north, we were down here doing exactly what you were doing. And Roddy, I can fight my own battles. But don't think that Ric Flair was my only friend. In comes Chris Benoit, coming out to save Arn Anderson from a possible 3-on-1 attack by Roddy Piper, Greg Valentine, and Sid Vicious. And that leads to Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson standing tall in the middle of the ring. And yes, it should lead you to question one certain little thing. And now we move to the broadcast position where the announcers talk up the feud between Mike Awesome and the Giant, where they think Mike Awesome could, in fact, be the one who may finally slay the Giant. And speaking of the Giant, he faces the Barbarian in a tune-up match tonight, going into his match against Mike Awesome at Spring Stampede. Excuse me. By the way, with the fact that neither Mike Awesome or the Giant are much talkers, neither one of them cut promos tonight. But Diamond Dallas Page does cut a quick promo backstage. I mean, he does cut a quick promo via satellite because he's home with his wife, as Kimberly had some magazine, they had a personal reasons to be home, so they gotta be on the phone. And DDP, much like Raven, I give DDP total creative freedom to write his promo. I okay it, and as you can see, it would have worked out because he got a 70, and he puts over how much he really wants to get his hands on Raven and how excited he is to get his hands on Raven this Sunday night. Now we move to the NWO locking horns with Kevin Nash and Kurt Hennig. Kevin Nash, Kurt Hennig, sorry, I didn't mean to repeat that. Kevin Nash defeats Kurt Hennig in the middle of the ring, but that leads to this happening. Brian Adams, post-match, Brian Adams runs in and attacks Kevin Nash, and then Kurt Hennig joins in to make a 2-on-1, and they leave Kevin Nash down in a heap in the middle of the ring because they attack. Sorry for stating the obvious. This was a short segment as we just zoom in backstage on Ted DiBiase, who seems to be talking on his cell phone. We can't tell who, but it sounds intriguing, and it leaves a mystery of who could DiBiase be talking about. And speaking of it, it's mystery enough for the announcers to question who could Ted DiBiase be possibly talking to backstage right now. Because this is not the first time we've seen DiBiase backstage talking to someone. And now we move to, obviously, Mike Awesome's tune-up match against Rick Steiner, who's competing in his first match since breaking up with his brother. Once again, just like last week with Mike Awesome against Rey Mysterio, just because Rick Steiner lost one match does not mean a damn thing. It does not mean a damn thing. So don't think it does. And that's a fact. Much like I said earlier in the show, Mike Awesome does not cut a promo. because he's not good at it. Now we move backstage where Kevin Nash is seen walking into Tully Blanchard's locker room, office, whatever you want to call it, and Tully Blanchard. And we don't catch the audio, we just see Kevin Nash walking into Tully Blanchard's office, and that's it. And now we move to the final segment of the show, and that is a history package building up one more time the importance of the main event at Spring Stampede, Randy Savage against Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight title. And now we move to the main event, Sting against Meng. And no, I did not do that on purpose. Fact of the matter is, this causes the show to get a little bit worse than it should have and could have. But fact of the matter is, this is the main event I chose, so I gotta live with it. And let's see what we got. Not so good. 65, not so good. At the rate we're going, I don't know what's gonna happen. We might lose enough popularity to drop down, but of course it would happen. I don't have a clear-cut direction. I'm lost. I'm going through the motions. I'm booking as I go. As you can see, the only feuds that I really, have any meat on the bones are DDP and Sting. DDP and Raven, the Giant and Mike Awesome, and Randy Savage and Sting. But fact of the matter is, guys, I'm trying. It's just that I'm, it's not that easy because of outside circumstances with the game. I just want to also mention, if you hear a noise in the background, that is my computer fan, because my computer is not very good at keeping itself cool, especially when I'm in a hot room. Fact of the matter is, that is just a temporary problem, as I should be getting a new computer within the next couple of weeks. So hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, the issue of the computer fan in the background will be fixed. So just gotta take care. Just gotta put up with it for a couple more weeks, and that's it. Sorry. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show of Nitro, or this part of Nitro. If you did, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. And if you're interested in seeing more videos just like this, please remember that the only place you can see it is right here, Wrestling Express. Till next time. Later.